Michael Meegs, how are you?
Paul, how are you?
Well, you look fantastic.
Thank you. It's a little early. I'm feeling good. How are you doing? Touchdown in London.
It's never been what I am right now. It's been a few days. We're here. We're off from the stadium, which is good. The internet's a little spotty. We'll see how this works for us. I'm so happy to see you dress the part, wearing sunglasses.
Dude, I couldn't be there. I had to look like I was, rolling with it, cigarettes and alcohol. What's the story? Morning glory. I had to make sure I was a part of it. It seems like there are people.
I will say this: the people of London have been so incredibly kind to us. I should have said it when you asked me how it was going. It has been a long 3 days, but good God, everybody here is so nice. And, somebody who lived in Ireland in another lifetime when I was much younger, when the NFL first started doing this thing in the UK. It seemed like nobody knew what they were talking about back then. These guys and gals know ball now, so it's really impressive. The whole weekend has been really good, really exhausting, but we're happy to be here, and thanks to everybody who's been so welcoming.
Well, I'm glad you got a good welcoming party. I'm glad you and Joe will have survived and everything like that. So I guess the real
survived
question
is a strong word. It's a very strong word.
Yeah, I won't air the unothered messages of the group chat, but things got a little crazy last night. For those, if you subscribe to, maybe they'll put it in War Room. If you really subscribe, maybe they'll make a new tier just to hear about the London Files. But this is not a great matchup for the Jets. The Broncos are a very good team coming off a very big win with a defense that is tenacious, that is ferocious, that is probably not going to let the Jets get in the back door if that's how it goes. So starting fast is a big deal for the Jets. So there's been a lot of talk about this regime. There's been a lot of talk about Justin Fields, about how good is he actually, how exactly are these wins piling up. So I guess my question to you is, the Jets in London, pre the Dolphins win of 2015, have been very sorry to look at, in my opinion. The Falcons game was brutal. Saleh literally got fired after the London game last year against the Vikings. Aaron Glenn, I'm happy they left basically like Monday night or Tuesday morning. They've been adjusted. They've been here for a while. That's what I think always is the good thing to do. What are you looking for today from this Jets team that, is 0-5, searching for their first win, and this is maybe their hardest matchup of the season?
Yeah, so I said this when I potted with Joe yesterday. This is whatever a back against the wall moment is, this is one step forward for the Jets. They've already had that now. We're beyond that. You're on the verge of the season. Mathematically, the season pretty much is over already, but you still have a chance to salvage some goodwill, to salvage some good feelings, to get people at least by the end of the season to a point where they feel like, okay, everything's not on fire. So, absent of a win, right, which I do think that there's a path to that, but absent of a win, I would really love to just see them knock themselves in the hole right out of the gate, right? Whether that be an early turnover or just falling in a 10-0 hole by not scoring points and getting points scored on you. Like, whatever it is, I just don't want to get in that point that we have been in every game this year except Pittsburgh, where you feel like there's this giant hole to dig in. So if we could start there.
Yeah, a turnover would be huge if that ever comes. It feels like after 5 weeks and no turnovers, it feels like it's never coming. But yeah, I think that's a very apt point where it's like the Jets have had decent opening scripts in the past couple of games, but they failed to cash in on it. They failed to get that touchdown. Obviously, we had the Braylon fumble in Miami. They sputtered out and had to kick a field goal last week against Dallas. If the Jets get the ball first and can punch it in and go up 7-0, we'll see if we'll see if it works. We'll see if it happens. But I just feel like the vibes could be very different because they have not had one of those touchdowns all season. All right. Looks like we're trying to get. All right. Which looks like we're trying to get a caller in this regard, Paul. So hold on one second. Let's see if I can post this link. In this regards, because these Oasis sunglasses, I gotta make sure I can actually see and actually post a link in here. But
my wife is texting me saying that you can't hear me. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm gonna keep talking and keep trying. Can you hear me, Meegs?
I can hear you. There's chatter in the background, so when you mute, in that regard, but I can hear you. I do appreciate Blessed Morning from Troll Ridge, 15 years no playoffs, even with the 10-6 2015 season SMH. Yeah, it's very funny that the Jets, if they had the 17 wild card, probably would have been in 2015, and they won 10 games last year and did not get in. Not last year, 2015. They won 10 games and did not get in, so that's super fun. I'm trying to think. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So like I said, there's a bunch of background chatter. But we're rocking and rolling. Paul's boots on the ground. I want him to give us the live look in for this. But I guess my main question for you in regards to this Broncos game is Bo Nix has struggled this year. I think before last week when they beat the Eagles, he was last or second to last in PFF grade. You are a toted non-Bo Nix believer. How are you going to feel if he cooks this defense and this is his get right game?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to hurt more than it would if the average bear cooks this defense, because I still refuse to believe that Bo Nix is good. I had lunch with Connor a couple years ago when I first got involved with Badlands, and we were just talking kind of early quarterback stuff at that time. And I think I said to him, I asked him what he thought about Bo Nix, and he said that he didn't really love him, and so that made me feel safe enough to say I wouldn't touch Bo Nix with a 7th round pick. Was I think what I actually said, and he ends up going, in the top 15 to Denver, and he had a pretty good rookie season. But I think that Bo Nix is a quarterback that once there's tape on him and people start to catch up with what is being schemed up for him by Sean Payton and the Denver coaching staff, it's easy to make adjustments on that. I think you've seen that in the early part of the season with other competent NFL defenses, right? And so that's the important qualifying point there at the end is other competent NFL defenses. And I don't know if we have a competent NFL defense right now. We have a defensive coordinator who has had a few stops. His last few stops in the NFL have not been very good, with the exception of San Francisco, where he was let go after a year. He wasn't very good in Missouri. We have a suspect defensive backfield. We have a suspect linebacking crew. We have a lot of injuries. And so that kind of leads me to this point of do you have the ability to get after what Sean Payton will scheme up for Bo Nix? And I'm not sure that they do. Now, if Bo Nix cooks us, will I leave here saying Bo Nix is actually good? No, because I don't think the Jets defense is very good. So I won't come off that, if that's what you're asking. I still think Bo Nix sucks. I think Bo Nix sucks after today. But I'll be very disappointed if we lose today.
Yeah, don't put it in the paper that I got mad if Bo Nix cooks us. I will never relent on a take, especially for a London game, especially for a Jets defense that looks like they can let up 30 points to anyone. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback and cooked us. Who else we played? We've not only played good quarterbacks. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Tua's not a good quarterback and he cooked us. So this Jets defense, it's at the moment, everybody eats. So we do have a caller. Bless his heart for showing his face after Penn State's last 3 weeks. We do have PSU Joe in here.
PSU Joe, you get major props for showing up today, man. Major props.
I felt bad that I wasn't on last week, but that loss to UCLA was devastating. And I thought it was the low of the low, and clearly I was wrong. So, I got the green and white on today. I'm ready to go. But, yeah, there's going to be some changes in Happy Valley pretty soon. And it sucks for Drew Aller. He's out for the year, and sounds like he fractured his ankle or something along those lines. So,
yeah, it's we're not going to take him in the first round or in the top 5 anymore. So I feel good about that. But I guess from a Jets perspective, London games are weird. Do you see the Jets either getting their first win? What do you think is going to hopefully be different about today that we've seen from these first 5 weeks, which have not given the Jets a lot to cheer about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come down to fundamentals, right? I mean, that's what they've been bad with. They haven't been tackling. They haven't been, hitting the right angles. From offense, it's been some key things that have really screwed them up. I mean, Braylon Allen should have had the touchdown fumble. Brees last week should have had at least us within the 10 or 5 yard line. He fumbles. I mean, those are opportunities that when you're not a overly talented team, you can't squander. And clearly we're doing that right now. So hopefully we get on track. Do I expect to win? No, not at this point. But I'm hoping for a competitive game. And like you said, weird things happen in London.
Yeah, I think that's the best
Yeah,
way to
it would
put
be-
it. No, Paul, go.
I think it would be irresponsible. I think it would be irresponsible to be, even as positive as I am. I think it's irresponsible to be like predicting a win at this point. For me, it's more like this is the path. This is how it happens, right? And I think you're spot on. Like, dude, at some point, you have to figure like the law of averages works out, right? And it's like they get a bounce or they're able to fall on a fumble, or Bo Nix just gives them a gift and puts one right in Sauce's chest or right in Cisco's chest. Like, it has to happen at some point, right? Like, no team has gone 5 games in a row to start a season without a turnover since the 1935 Giants or whatever. Like, statistically, it's almost impossible to do it again, right? So at some point, the ball has to turn in your favor, and that's the type of thing that can put you in position to at least be in a competitive game in the fourth quarter. Who knows at that point, right? We know that they can't come back from the big hole. We've seen that. We've seen that movie over and over again. What if they're in a competitive game in the second half? What does that team look like? And so that's really what I'm hoping to see today, and that's what I think the path is.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think the Jets, their opening script, can they cash in? Can they score 10 points in the first half? I think a lot of questions have been asked about this offense, about, since Pittsburgh, all their first touchdowns of the game have come in the second half, and sometimes it's been garbage time. I think the Tampa comeback, I'm not saying Will McDonald's play will live forever. I'm not saying that was a fluke, but it looks like they only got really in that game after when Bulls won prevent. Prescott was the same thing. The Dolphins, obviously were down 10-3 at half, and they couldn't, they basically ran out of time. So scoring in the first quarter, I think, will be massive. And if they force a turnover in the first quarter and they finally get a short field, I think will be massive in that regard. So, Joe, we're going to leave you with this. What is your prediction score-wise for the Jets today?
I'm going to say that we lose the game 24-17.
Okay. I think the spread at the moment is 7.5. So the Jets, whether that's a backdoor, whether that's they've been in the game the entire time, would cover. I think that's something that I hope Paul gets to see, the fact that he made it all the way over there. I do not want to see him leaving Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when the game's, in the third quarter, if the game is 34-10. So I hope Bo Nix does not get the flex on us, because I don't want to
work out an audio issue. Give me a second.
Okay, in that regard. But all right, Joe, I guess since Drew, I'll leave you with this as Paul's working out. My last question for you is, who do you think? I think the Jets are going to draft a quarterback. I think the consensus at this point is that they're probably going to pick in the top 5. If it's not Drew Aller, who do you think it's going to be, or / who do you want it to be?
Well, it's not going to be Drew Aller. Like, I think his physical tools will get him drafted at this point. Mm-hmm. But God, that kid should have left last year. I feel horrible for him. He would have been a top 15 pick last year. Now, who knows what round he goes in. But I like the kid from Indiana, but I also don't know that. Well, he went into Oregon yesterday and played really well, right? I think he had a pick six that, it is what it is, but no one's going to be perfect. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs. So I like that kid. The kid from Oregon plays pretty well, though. Yesterday he didn't show up a ton. The kid Mateer completely bombed.
Yeah. I don't know if that's an NFL quarterback. I think he might just be a good college quarterback.
That's Will's guy too, so I know he's probably bummed out. But I don't know. Probably the kid, I guess, from Indiana would be
okay.
But that's assuming we have the first pick, because he's probably going to go 1 if he keeps playing the way he is. And I'm hoping that we're not in that position, but we'll see. So
okay.
All
right. All right, as PSC Drew said, Fernando Mendoza, we're going to hold you to that. If he's bad, we'll be like, Joe, how could you have done this to us? But thank you so much for calling in, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Keep it up.
Have a good one.
You too.
All righty. Okay, so Paul is gone. I'm sure he will be back in that regard. So obviously it's just going to be me just chatting away, chatting into the void. But I think the thing that we let's see if I can pull back in here.
I'm back.
Look
Sorry.
at you. I know, dude, you're fine. I didn't think I removed you. I just want to make sure I was good. But
No, I removed
you know.
myself. My AirPods stopped working.
Okay. All right. So I said we're going through this thing with the Broncos. So I'm trying to think what's the best thing. So
Meegs,
do you think?
I'm gonna bring you in another special guest to talk to for a second here. I'm gonna pop
Okay.
out of the chair. And Kevin Rooney, also known as Juicy Jet 25. Juicy Jet 25. You guys all know him. You've seen him.
Obviously.
Kevin Rooney, he goes to every Jets away game like a real degenerate psychopath. So he's sitting right next to me. I'm going to give him the AirPods. He's going to pop in for a second. He'll have some input on the game.
Beautiful. Juicy
Hey,
Jet
Meegs,
25.
can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's amazing out here in London. There's so many Jets fans. It's crazy.
Good. I mean, I feel like last week was like a Dallas Cowboys home game, so I'm glad to see the Jets have a nice London presence, and maybe getting away from MetLife is the best thing for this team. So how's the vibe over there? How is your vibe going into this game?
Well, I flew in London thinking there's no chance to win this. This is one of those teams. It's just a bad matchup. Like, what are you going to do? But now being here with all these optimistic fans from London, it's like, all right, the hopium's coming back. We'll see how it goes. But, I feel good. I hope we're putting up a performance that's going to be more competitive than it's been in the past. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Good. I'm good to hear that. So obviously the Jets haven't given us much to cheer for. The offense, obviously, we've talked about the garbage time aspect. The defense has been pretty deplorable. I guess, what do you want to see from Justin Fields in the offense today that's just been different? Maybe a counterpunch. Maybe you want to see more of something run. Maybe you just want to see them score more points. What does the offense need to do today to keep this a game?
Well, I mean, you got to score touchdowns, first of all. We can't be down 14 points because we kicked the field goal on our first drive like we've done week after week. And I want to see us, air the ball out a little bit more. I want to see Arian Smith go deep. That's what we got him for, so why not? And, of course, you got to run at this pass rush. You got to run right at these defensive ends. Our old buddy John Franklin Myers, just got to run right at those guys. It's the only way that I think we're going to be able to score. So I feel good about Justin Fields, but we'll see.
Yeah, I said the ball control aspect, I think, is a big one. If the Jets are going to give the ball to Denver, I think they're going to score. Being able to maintain that ball, to control the clock, I think that's what this Jets team is really missing, is the fact that they don't control the ball. They don't hold the ball for long. Besides their opening drive, they struggle to put points on the board. And I think this team is not built to come from behind. This team is not built to lose the turnover battle and just have the Jets, in a shootout. I think the Jets need to double up the Broncos on time of possession. I think they need to hold the ball, get a bunch of first downs, and that is how they are going to win games, because they're just not talented enough to win otherwise.
Can I ask you a question, Meegs?
Sure. Go for it.
Justin Fields, you look at some of these other quarterbacks throughout the league, and we have this, you guys talk about it all the time, we're a losing football team. It just feels that way all the time. Do you feel Justin Fields is the quarterback, or is a quarterback, that can help overcome that culture deficit that we have to turn us into a winning org? For me, I don't see it, but
yeah, for Fields, I think he's always been the bridge quarterback. I think that's always been the definition, or what we think he's going to be. He's better. He's better in some aspects than I think people thought. I think he's exactly what other people thought in regards to just how he is. But no, I don't think Justin Fields is the guy to lead this to break the franchise's playoff drought, to lead them into the promised land. I think he's just bad, but in a different way, which I think most people appreciate. That if you're going to be bad, at least change it up. So I think Justin Fields is helping us in that aspect.
Yeah, totally. Well, Meegs, I appreciate talking to you. This has been great. I'm going to pass it back over to your co-host, and hopefully I talk to you again soon.
Exactly, man. Thank you so much for, I would say calling in, but appearing on the show and everything. And good God, the fact that you do all you do going every away game. God bless.
Someone's got to support, right?
Exactly. All right. So we're going to have him transfer everything back over to Paul. This is from Eshag. This is a very good comment. I would rather watch a recording of my own conception than watch Glenn coach another year. So it feels like the fan base is getting very tired of Aaron Glenn very quickly. I feel like my take has that some people saw on the pod this week about him. If they have a 1-1, if they're 1-1 pick bad, I don't want this regime picking a quarterback. So, what can Aaron Glenn do to change the vibe, to change the narrative? Because for a fan base that I think was very high and very optimistic over the summer, it sounds like that equity is completely gone, even for a guy who used to play for the organization.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's surprisingly gone, right? And I'm like, a lot of conversations I'm having are like fighting to try to get back to that point of like, we got to give him a little bit of time, and I'm having a hard time like having that conversation, right? And so if we go back to what the argument we've been having about the 2021 Lions or whatever year that was, 2019 with Campbell, if we go back to
it's 2021, you're right. You were right the first time.
Okay, so what we always say is like, I say he was on the hot seat, you say yeah, but it looked good, people were behind him, people got it. Right. And so we need to figure out what that is. I think it's as simple as like, number one, win a game. Right. So don't get to 0-10. Don't get to 0-11. Like, number one is win a game. But number two is look good doing it. If you're going to lose, look good doing it. And I think you saw some of that in Pittsburgh week 1, where it was easy not to blame the coaching. It was easy to say Xavier Gipson fumbled the kick return and, they kicked a 62-yard field goal at the end. Like, what can you do? Right. They kind of did everything they needed to do to win the game. And since then, it hasn't looked like that. So if you're going to lose, look good doing it and feel good doing it. But the simplest way to get there is just, win a goddamn game and put some good feelings out there in the universe.
Yeah, score points, win games. We don't ask for much. The Jets never score enough points, never win enough games. So in the chat, is that Liam? Yes, nailed it. Nailed the exact thing I was going for. Beautiful. Love it.
I saw that too. I had to put it up.
It was beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, honestly, the way the Jets are moving at this point, I would love it. I might need a gin and tonic by 9:40 at this point. We'll get to this in the predictions. We'll get to this in the bets. I just hate this matchup for them. I just don't like the Broncos defense. I don't like the amount of pressure they put on quarterbacks. I don't know how Fields is going to react to that. The Jets have been, post-Pittsburgh, have been such a slow starting team. I don't think you can start slow in London. I think it's harder to wake up. I think it's harder to, get back if you give up a lead. So I guess the thing that I want to see is, the Colts were able to run the ball a little bit on Denver. The Eagles had a good first half, but really weren't. I guess from Tanner Engstrand, what's a counterpunch you want to see? Because I think the Jets are pretty effective running the ball. They kind of have the training wheels on Fields from a passing perspective. I think they're nervous about letting their quarterbacks throw a ton because of the pass catchers. We saw it happen with Tyrod at the end of the first half against the Bucs, and I think they're a little gun shy about that. Do you think it's a personnel thing? Do you think it's a coach thing that they're just playing a little scared, it feels like?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's that simple, right? And I think the counterpunch to me is deke, do something, change it up a little bit, right? Even if it doesn't work, just change it up for change's sake, especially on that opening drive. As fun as it's been to watch them march down the field on 3 different teams on the opening drive and just run the ball. That's been fun, but guess what? We haven't won a game, and in 2 of those cases, they fumbled at the goal line on an early drive, right? So I would like to see this time, maybe first play, just do something to try to back them up, whether it's a quick play action slant over the middle or a true deep shot. Just do something that signals to the Broncos early, hey, we're doing something a little bit different this week, and you're going to have to prepare for some different things. And that will allow you to go back to the run at some point when you need to, and you need to shell it down a little bit. And maybe Fields has some early trouble and you want to get back into your comfort zone. That's fine. But come out and deke them early. That way you just create the doubt in their mind, because, these guys, this NFL game is so fast that if you create a little bit of doubt in a defensive back's mind, sometimes that's all you need to get a little bit of separation. So I would just like to see them do something different and try to give a different look. I don't necessarily know if running at the pass rush for 4 quarters is the solution to this. It could be the solution for periods of time today, but I don't think you're going to beat the Broncos just by running at that pass rush and saying, hey, we're gonna send Breece Hall right at it every single time. So, man, just do something different, please. Get some other people involved. Brandon Smith is up today. Maybe get him involved. Like, maybe take a deep shot to Arian Smith, like some people are suggesting. Just do something.
Yeah, the deep shot to Arian Smith is, I think, where my brain's going at this point. I don't think Garrett's going to have a bad game. I think Garrett's improved as a player, but he's probably going to be matched up on Pat Surtain for a large majority of this game. And if the Jets are going to win, if the Jets are going to cover, if the Jets are going to remain competitive, a secondary pass catcher is going to have, I think, a big game or a bigger game than we're used to them having, whether that's Mason Taylor, whether that's the Arian Smith early deep shot that results in a big explosive. The Jets got to flip the field some way, because the Jets – I love how they run the ball. I love the attitude they play with. The Jets aren't talented enough to just manufacture 12-play, 80-yard drives. Like, it's hard. That's the thing. What happens when you have to deal with those drives? You have to be good. You have to be perfect. And if you make one mistake like we've seen them make, they turtle. And that's why you need explosives. That's why you need to get touchdowns in a different way. And the Jets haven't really been able to do that in the first half of games outside of Pittsburgh. After 5 games, it feels like Pittsburgh's the exception, not the rule at this point. So how they flip that narrative, whether it's, I know people are talking about using Arian Smith as like a gadget player. I think you need to use him as a receiver more so teams respect him to the point where you can use him as a gadget player. I think you have to get like a baseline up to that I don't think the Jets have been at yet. So I don't want to call a reverse for him because they're going to go for negative yards, but can they, even if it's a clear out route where Arian Smith runs down the field and you have to respect his deep speed and Fields throws the check down for 8 yards, like just get him involved, because this Jets offense from a pass catcher perspective is piss poor. Like there's no way around that. Josh Reynolds had a couple catches last week, but he's been pretty mid. Tyler Johnson's been active some weeks. Lazard is, an empty jersey, as we like to call him. Like the Jets need a secondary pass catcher. Maybe that's Mason Taylor, to emerge in a way that defense at least have to respect him. I know they don't respect any pass catcher besides Garrett Wilson at this point.
And we have a comment in here, and I want to talk about this a little bit from Ishk, is my best guess at the pronunciation there. I agree with what you're saying in principle, right? Like in principle, yes, I would like to get some screens involved in this. However, and it's not just this Jets team, like for years, the Jets have not been able to execute a proper screen pass. And I think part of it, like with Zach Wilson, he couldn't figure out how to throw a screen pass. Like he was throwing howitzers into the flat, and he would be hitting guys in the face mask. And so we have not been able to execute a screen pass in a long time. And I think Justin Fields lacks a little bit of that touch to play the screen game the right way. And so while I do agree with that in principle, I'm not sure that that's the answer here. And I lean more towards what Meegs is saying with you need to figure out a way to generate an explosive play. And even if it's just one, right? Because if you hit one, that can give the offense the confidence to not go into the turtle shell the next time they face a little bit of adversity, because they know, hey, if we need to, if we get backed up, if we're in 3rd and 15, we can hit a deep play if we need to, right? And we're not going to call it every time, but when we get our backs against the wall like that, we have the ability to pick up chunks of yards. So just one can give so much positive feeling and positive momentum that will allow them to hopefully not go into that shell the next time they're facing some trouble. So I agree more with you than with the screen thing. I think they just need to push the ball down the field. Yeah.
I don't think there's a gimmick play that's going to get them 30 yards. It's going to change the thing. The Jets just need to be able to be respected as an offense, because I don't think Denver is going to show them any respect. I think they're going to play a ton of man. I think they're going to say beat us. I think they're going to stack the box, because as they get more film on the Jets, they know what they are. They're a team that wants to run the ball, and they're a team that doesn't scare you enough in the pass game. And I know people have been toting that Justin Fields hasn't thrown an interception through 5 weeks. That's not always a good thing. I'm not saying turnovers are good or you want people to turn over the ball and everything like that, but it's also a reflection that he isn't pushing the ball down the field. He isn't taking chances where, there's risk where it could be an interception, but it could also be a touchdown. And the Jets, besides that week 1 play to Garrett Wilson, I feel like they don't have, it feels like the Jets don't have a 30-yard pass. I'm not saying they haven't completed one. I'm not saying that, there hasn't been a run after catching like that, but it feels like the Jets haven't successfully completed, even for a DPI, the aspect of that where when you throw the ball down the field, that hasn't happened. So I really hope that we see more of that, and that the Jets try to use, whether it's the refs to their favor, whether it's the London aspect of the game being weird to their favor, just be like, I feel like the Jets would get a lot of equity or get a lot of grace. We're just going to go bombs away. We're going to use the pass to set up the run today. And if Pat Surtain or the Denver secondary picks us off 2 times, all right, at least we went down swinging. At least we went down different. Like, losing the way they're losing is pathetic. And if they lose today, I don't think anyone's going to be shocked. Anyone's going to be surprised. But if you at least go about it in a different way, like, the Jets aren't talented enough to play ball security, dink and dunk offense, have all these 12 plays and keep the ball. Like, they just aren't. You have to realize that as much as the safe way to win isn't going to win when you can't win the talent battle.
100%. And you hit the nail on the head when you said it's a really boring way to watch football. Like, it's slop, dude. At least if they were being aggressive, be like, to your point, they went down swinging, right? They something. They tried to do something crazy, and you're okay with that. But watching the same thing from somebody else that essentially said Aaron Glenn keeps saying that he wants to play the game their way, which is like do the same thing over and over again until it works. And it's hard to. I see what he's saying, but it's hard to get your mind around that as a fan, right? And I put this comment up because I want to talk about this one a little bit. It's on Glenn and Engstrand to be aggressive in the pass game, not the quarterback. I understand what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. I think it's more of a 50-50 share than we think. And the reason I think it's a 50-50 share is because coming out of the Buffalo game week 2, which feels like a million years ago when we still had some positive feelings from the Steelers game. But coming out of that Buffalo game, everybody was like, man, Engstrand had such a bad game. He didn't scheme up anything. And then we all watched the film and we were like, oh, wait a minute. Like, actually, receivers were open downfield. He had a bunch of crossers open, and Justin Fields was holding the ball too long. And he had that early overthrow to Garrett Wilson on, I think, the first drive of the game that happened on 3rd down and kind of ended that first drive. And he kind of he went into a shell from there, right? And so I think in that game, it was being schemed up deep and it just wasn't being completed. And the one thing, and I really want to like Justin Fields. I really, really do. I like him as a person. I like him as a guy. I like him as a locker room guy. I like the ability to have a running quarterback. Like, all of it is very attractive to me. In the Steelers game, watching it live, I was watching him hold the ball, and I'd be like, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. And he would throw it very, very late, and he was fitting it into tight windows, and it was working. But since then, it really hasn't worked. He's holding the ball way too long, and I think it really came to a head last weekend when he held it forever and they got sacked every time. So I think while I agree with you that there's a problem with Engstrand and Glenn, forcing him to be more aggressive, it takes 2 to tango, and they need Justin Fields to actually throw the ball too. And what I'd very much like to see is just get Fields into the mindset of, we're not even giving you multiple reads anymore. This is the play that's called. This is where the ball's going. If it's not there, go. That's it. If we need to simplify it that much, and I'm not saying to do that for the rest of the season, but if you need to do that for a week, just to get his mind right and say 3 steps, ball's out. If the ball's not out, you get on the run, and maybe you look for something on a rollout, but keep your eyes downfield and run. I think maybe that's what you need to do to get him to the comfort point where he can feel like he can be more aggressive and actually go through his reads.
Yeah, I said.
And Meegs, I'm actually go ahead, keep talking, but I'm gonna give the headphones and the mic here to our lovely host Olivia, who is the one who put together all of our events this weekend. She was the fan of the year. She announced the Malachi Moore pick at the draft. She's been fantastic to us, so I'm gonna hand it over. Go ahead, keep talking, Meegs.
Yeah, like I said, the Fields point is a very important one where it's both. It's the coaching staff telling him not to make mistakes, not coaching him aggressive enough, and it's on him where the way it's going, you're a bridge quarterback. You're not going to be more than you have been, and it's really on you to start making plays and be more aggressive. And if you make more turnovers, it is what it is at this point. But Olivia, thank you so much for hosting Paul and the guys in London. We're going to see how the Jets do today. I know it's not a great matchup. How are you feeling about the Jets, possibly getting their first win of the season this week?
Yeah, so I'm feeling good.
Of course, the audio. As soon as she gets on, the Wi-Fi cuts out on her. That's just very unfortunate. But I think the point, or thing that we want to see. Yeah, it's a good point. Eberflus really knew how to get after Fields.
The Broncos are really strong people.
Yes, all right. Okay, you're back. Go ahead, Olivia.
Sorry, I don't know how much of that you got. But I was just saying, like the vibes are good here. The amount of people that came out to see the Jets and 0-5 team is like unbelievable. Everyone's positive. The game itself, not that positive about, but it's in Tottenham, neutral ground. You just don't know what happens in these international games, do you? So the matchups aren't great, but you know, it'd be nice to get the first win here. Maybe start the season, but
yeah, I said that's a very good point where you have to let the environment influence this game at least at some point where the Jets are not favored. It's not a great matchup. The Jets probably are not going to win today, but can they show something different? Can they show something competitive? Can they show the coaching staff that they can go overseas and put up a competitive effort? Because how many sleepy London games have the Jets played where they don't wake up to the third quarter? I think that will be a big impact and show a big turning point at this point for them where the coaching staff has come under a lot of fire. I've made my feelings clear about that. If they pick 1-1, what I feel about this coaching staff, but they got, 12, 13 more games to prove me wrong. And we're going to see how it goes. So I guess I'll leave you with this. What is your final prediction for the Jets game and how today goes?
Could you just repeat that last bit?
Sure. I said, what is your prediction for the game? We'll give you a game prediction. How do you think today goes for them?
Yeah, it's if I was talking with my head, I think that it would be a Broncos win pretty comprehensively. But I'm going to go with my heart. I think it would be really nice for the Jets to get the win here while the fan base is pumped. I know it's not quite like that over in MetLife at the moment. But when the vibes are good, and it'd be in my ideal world, it'd be nice to have a Malachi Moore pick six, to ice the game or whatever. But that'd be nice. I think head says Broncos. I think they're just too strong. Heart says Jets on a walk-off field goal. That'd be the dream.
That'd be fantastic. Nick Folk has been one of the better Jets this year, so I think that would be perfectly apt if the Jets somehow. The Denver is in a little bit of a sleepy spot after a big win last week. Can the Jets take advantage of a letdown? Would be very massive. And if they keep the game close, I actually trust Nick Folk to hit that field goal because I feel like he's been one of the better Jets this year. But thank you so much for hosting, Paul, and the guys over there. Thank you so much for joining the show. If you ever want to call in, in that regards, next week going forward, we would love to have you.
Well, thank you. Let's hope that we see Paul, Joe, and Will, the guys. Let's hope we see the first win of the 2025 season. Hope the rest of the show goes okay, and we'll be tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you. Said as Paul gets back on the mic in that regard. Thank you so much to Olivia. I think that's the best way that's the way you got to hope for it is that the Jets can take advantage of a sleepy spot. The Eagles had a big win last week against the Eagles. No one thinks the Jets have a chance today. I'm sure they're riding high. So can you take advantage of a team that maybe could become overconfident playing in a weird setting? So
yeah, Paul. Man, I think honestly, I think that's it. They're coming off I think you were just talking about this. They're coming off the Eagles. They got the Giants next week, which look like the Giants. I don't want to get into my feelings about what the Giants are right now, but they're a paper tiger, right? And they've won 2 out of the last 3 games, and so there's at least something there that Denver feels like they have to prepare for. If there's ever been a time when the Jets could catch somebody sleeping a little bit, it's now. And by the way, you don't even really have to do a ton to catch them sleeping because you've been so bad. You've been so unconscionably bad that if you just show up with some intensity and you hit somebody in the mouth early and maybe you blindside block somebody, just do something crazy early. Explosive play on offense would work as well. The bar to surprising Denver is so low that you might be able to catch them sleeping with just some effort, right? So I don't think it takes a lot to get yourself into that point where you're right, this is a rock fight now. The Jets are showing up with a little bit more than we expect.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point where it's you have to embrace what you are. You're an underdog. whether teams take you seriously, whether teams think you're a joke, you have to use that to your advantage. You have to play that against them at this point where, I think they were obviously like more than a touchdown favorite against the Titans in week 1, and they kind of played with their food. They didn't close out that game. That game was very weird. They closed it out at the end if they got a turnover, but the Broncos offense wasn't ready to be an 8.5-point favorite against Tennessee, and they haven't been a big favorite since. So can the Jets have a similar effort? Can the Jets defense show a little bit of life? I know we got a comment there that I think Barron is inactive today. So is this a show of that, this was the regime's draft pick. These guys aren't bulletproof. These guys aren't Teflon, that if they don't play well, and Barron has not, that we're going to see a different version, and we're going to see other guys play. I guess that's the real question. Like, they've been cutthroat with Xavier Gipson. That's about it. Is this a sign of things to come, do you think, now that we've seen like someone like Barron is inactive?
I hope so, man. We saw the Gibson thing, and there's been somebody that's been so bad every week that if he really stuck to what he was doing with Xavier Gibson, somebody would have been cut every week, right? Which is like, at a certain point, you just can't sustain that over 10 weeks of an NFL season. Like, it would have gotten ridiculous. The reasoning with him at the time was that, it was not just that, it was a series of things that led to Xavier Gibson being cut. But I guess my problem with that at the time was, if there was a series of things, why did he make the team in the first place, right? Because it felt like there were some other options. Now we're starting to wonder, like, hey, like, how bad is Pritchett? If Pritchett still hasn't been able to really crack things here, and even with Kenny Nwangwu back, they elevated Isaiah Williams to be the backup returner again. So to bring it back to your question, yes, I am encouraged by the fact that Tyler Barron is inactive today, because he has been somehow worse than Clements. Again, just hard to wrap your mind around how bad he's been. But at a certain point, it's like, do you not have the bodies behind you? And who's going to take these reps? And is that worse than Tyler Barron? So I guess I'll reserve judgment on that until we see what was behind Tyler Barron on the roster and what was holding him back. Now, if it looks really good, then we're in the position. Thank you very much, Will. Will just brought me water. If it looks really good, then we're in the position of like, well, why did it take you to week 6? This? Like, what were we waiting for? I love this comment from Rob. Feels like I'm listening to guys try to convince themselves that the moon is made of cheese. That's a very apt perspective at this point for what the Jets are being. The Jets haven't shown you anything so far this season that they're going to win, that they're a well-coached team, that they can surprise you. And that's why I'm not going to pick them when we do the record predictions probably in the next 10-ish minutes. The Jets have to show us everything at this point. Like, this coaching staff had equity because of who Aaron Glenn was, how the Saleh tenure ended. But right now, the Jets, who are they are. The Jets are 0-5 because they deserve to be. Like, I know they could have beat Pittsburgh. I know Tampa, they lost on a last-second field goal, but those are the breaks. Like, the Jets didn't play well enough to win those games. Pittsburgh, obviously they had the special teams fumble. Tampa, I really think they got back in that game. They had a crazy field goal block. So, like, obviously that's like a different aspect of things. But the Jets got to show that there's something that, like, they're not content with losing every week, because a lot of their players look like they do. Like, I know we get after the coaching staff, but this roster has lost a ton of games. Losing is second nature to them at this point. So I want to see something different, see some fight. We're already hearing trade deadline chatter like, hey, Brees is going to be gone. Quincy might be gone. Like the Quinnen chatter, which I don't want to get on this podcast and say, like, the Jets need to trade Quinnen Williams. The Jets need to rebuild. Because, like, I want Quinnen Williams to be a Ring of Honor Jet. Like, people get after the guy. His pass rush this year hasn't been the best, but I want the Jets to make the playoffs and everyone be happy for Quinnen Williams that he stuck it out. He dug through all this mess. He came out of the gutter and it happened. Like, if you don't want, if he asks out, he's tired of losing. Like, at the end of the day, you only have one NFL career. I'm never going to begrudge the guy for that because it's been this bad. But I don't want him to go. I don't want the Jets to trade their good players. I want the Jets to win with them. And it just seems like that's becoming harder and harder. So, go. I love your Quinnen take. I absolutely love your Quinnen take. And I think, like, to take it a step further, right? So, like, basically what you're saying is you don't want to part with a guy who is going to be in the Ring of Honor. He's going to have his jersey retired if he stays here for the entirety of his career. And maybe there's more than that for him that's available out there. The only reason you do this is as a favor to a guy that we all love, who says, like, hey, I'd really like to go to LA and try to win something with the Rams, or like whatever the case may be, right? Because to even go down a level further, the return you would have to get for Quinnen Williams to make letting a Ring of Honor guy walk worth it is like, not only do you have to get the draft pick compensation in return, and it has to be good, then you have to hit on those draft picks. Then you probably have to sign them to second contracts. Like, it goes deep, right? There's a long ripple effect for a Quinnen Williams trade being worth it. A Quincy Williams trade is a totally different story. A Breece Hall trade is a totally different story. But a Quinnen Williams trade has ripple effects that last far after he's gone, and you better make damn sure that it's worth it, unless you're doing a favor to a guy that the fans all really care about.
Yeah, like I said, if Quinnen's like, hey, you're going to trade my brother because he's expiring, I'd like to go play for a different team. Not going to begrudge a guy for having that opinion. The Jets have been as bad as they've been. If that's how you want to do it and that's how he wants to go, fair enough. But that's just not a guy I'm in a rush to trade, because I think he's been your best player on the defensive side of the ball for a couple of years. I think that's a player. Quinnen Williams is a winning player. I'm not going to begrudge that take. I'm not going to get off that take. You know, I wish he impacted games more. It's like, I don't know. The Jets' edges are bad. He gets double teamed all the time, like, and he still finds a way to make an impact. So I look at the core of this team. I look at Quinnen. I look at Garrett. I look at the tackles. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I saw Scott Page. He's going to be on the team, but he's not playing like a core player right now. I want to see more from him. I'm not going to act like he's bulletproof or untouchable, or, you know, week one was good. The rest of the weeks have kind of been spotty. And for a guy who got a market-hitting contract for his position, I want more from him. You know, I don't think that's unreasonable to think.
No, not at all. Oh, man. Before we get to the predictions, I want to give you a chance to talk about Ty Simpson a little bit, because that seems to really be picking up steam. I don't know if you were the tastemaker there or what, but that picked up a lot of steam this week. I saw a meme last night before I shut it down for the night that was like, it said like the prophecy or whatever, and it was Namath in an Alabama uniform, Namath in a Jet uniform, Simpson in an Alabama uniform, Simpson in a Jet uniform. So how you feeling about Ty Simpson?
I was actually, funny enough, I was last night at the bar. I was talking with one of my best friends. I saw his brother at the bar, and they're huge Jet fans. They always put a future on one college football team every year, and they picked Alabama this year. And the Ty Simpson when the Jets need a quarterback, you know, they're excited. And I think Ty Simpson's playing the best. I think whether this means he's going to be the highest draft pick, I think Ty Simpson is playing the best football of any quarterback in college right now. And it's just cool to see that a guy who waited for his chance, sat behind Jalen Milroe for 2 years, sat around Bryce Young as a freshman, that he's taking this opportunity where, you know, Dante Moore yesterday didn't play his best game. Fernando Mendoza, I really liked how he came back from that pick six that he threw that let Oregon back in the game, and he had that touchdown drive. Ty Simpson went on the road and beat Missouri. Like, Alabama's going through a gauntlet right now. They played Georgia in Athens, won. They got their lick back against Vanderbilt, who was ranked this year, and won. They went to Missouri and won. They have Tennessee next week. They play Oklahoma, I think, towards the end of the season. Like, they have a tough schedule. And Ty Simpson is just answering the bell, where I kind of want to see what this offense looks like if the Jets aren't going to have the number one pick, if they're not going to, you know, if they're going to keep this regime. I kind of want to see what Tanner Engstrand's offense looks like with a point guard, where they get another pass catcher. He's just distributing the ball, like who their version of Jared Goff is. Obviously, this Detroit regime is used to. I think Ty Simpson would be a great aspect of that, you know, whether he's a top 10 pick or, you know, I want to see more of it. He's the guy, the man's only had like 6 or 7 starts. You know, we always talk about we want to see quarterbacks play more, but he's playing really well. And I hate that the Jets are 0-5 and we're talking about quarterbacks in the future, but it's the reality. Like, the Jets aren't turning this around, ripping off 8 straight wins and going to the playoffs. Like, this regime is probably going to take a quarterback to extend their time. And if Ty Simpson is the guy they take, I don't think it's a bad pick.
Yeah, and the idea of it being their Jared Goff, like, bring the offense back to some familiarity in terms of skill set at the position, I think is it's interesting at the least, right? And so I'm starting to talk myself to the point of, like, and this has nothing to do with what the Giants look like right now, because I feel the way I feel about Jackson Dart, but I really liked the strategy of taking the player that you really need for the team with your top pick and then figuring out a way to get either back into the bottom of the first round or the top of the second round and taking another bite with a quarterback who maybe slid for whatever reason, right? Maybe it's Ty Simpson and he's just not one of the top guys taken, or maybe it's Nussmeier because he's been playing injured all year, whatever the case may be. I like that strategy, and we'll see if it works out for the Giants, depending on the player. But that's kind of where I'm finding myself leaning now too.
Yeah, I don't know if I want the Jets to trade up just because they don't have a ton of assets and they got to work on this roster in that regard. So that's kind of like, I don't know. We'll see if the Jets pick 1-1. We'll see if they pick 1-3 or 1-2 if things change. I think the only team that I think is on an equal level to them right now is the Titans. I think the Saints are spunky. I think the Saints fight every week. I think they're playing for Kellen Moore. I think the Browns, we'll see how they do against Pittsburgh today with Gabriel if Shadur comes in. But, like, I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think that defense is good. Like, the Jets' defense is bad, and their quarterback can't win games when the defense lets up more than 21 points. So, you know, if they're as bad as they're trending and they take a quarterback, that's where, like, I struggle, and that's what I think about. Where it's to the fact that if they're going to be bad, I'd rather them take the quarterback first. So they don't have to waste more capital because they don't have they're going to give the Eagles a pick in the top 75 from the Reddick trade, which is not this regime's fault. It's deplorable that it's gotten to this point, but that's the reality. But the compact they were going to get from Reddick looks like it's not going to be as high as it was because they signed Stevens and they signed Cisco. We'll see how the compact format plays out, but I don't like that this regime basically treated this like an evaluation year, and what I've evaluated is just that this regime is over its head. So I don't know if they're going to be able to take the quarterback they want, because I don't know if they're going to have the job because the fan base is as animated as it's been, and I'm a part of that. I don't shy away from that. I don't think they're wrong to feel as bad as they do. But Paul, as we're getting, so we got 8 minutes left until we kick it over to SNY. I guess we're going to go through some what do you think is going to happen today? What are some best bets that you're feeling that you think can have a positive, whether it's positive back, or you're never the guy who's going to bet on the Broncos or bet, Brett J.K. Dobbins rushing over and all that jazz?
No, I won't do it just out of principle alone. It's not that it won't happen and that I don't believe it'll happen. It's dirty money and I don't want dirty money. What I will bet on today is Nick's interception. I get that at this point it seems far-fetched to hear the Jets are taking the ball away, but I think that he's just in a prime spot to give a ball away. That's who he is. That's what he does. And so while Peyton will do a great job of trying to scheme things up for him, eventually he's just he's going to look into one. And like I said earlier, the law of averages says that the Jets are going to take one away eventually. So I'll go Nick's interception. I also like Fields' longest rush over, because I think that they are going to try to simplify things for him today and make him run the ball more, even if it's not designed, even if it's just like, hey, one read and go. So I think he'll get his longest rush over. And I also think that I would take every Mason Taylor over that is available on whatever sports book that you're betting, right? Like, I don't care what the numbers are. I don't care what the odds are. If it's over 3.5 receptions, take that. If it's over 4.5 receptions, take that. Take his over yards. Take an anytime touchdown if you want. I think Mason Taylor is in a prime spot. I think we saw the beginning of what is going to turn into a really good year for Mason Taylor last week.
Yeah, I think most people, myself included, was expecting like a Mason Taylor jump before the bye, and it's come in week 5, basically, that we saw him. He had 9 catches last week. Fields and him clearly have a rapport that's starting to build. I like his over in that regard. I think I tweeted this yesterday when Glenn said that they had a great week of practice. I was like, please bet. And that Jermaine Johnson said they had a players only meeting. So please bet the Broncos team total over, because I am a sadist in that regard. But I think the Jets are going to have to run. We know the Jets are going to run the ball. I think Brees is going to have a good day. I don't think Brees is going to be on this team in week 10. I think they're going to trade him regardless of how he feels. I don't think he's a guy who's going to get a contract extension here. This regime has always felt lukewarm on him. But that doesn't mean that they can't run the ball. That doesn't mean that the Broncos have smaller edges in that regard. Nick Bonino, great pass rusher, deserved the contract he got. It's been one of the most impact players in the NFL. He's still a smaller guy. I think they're going to run the ball. I like Brees over. I think Brees can have another 100-yard rushing day, and I think Garrett's going to get in the end zone again. So I think those are like the two bets that I'm feeling at this point. If you want to bet the Broncos team total, I think they're going to score a ton of points. I really do. I don't think this defense can stop J.K. Dobbins. I don't think that, Marvin Mims, I can see having a big play. Troy Fleming, I can see having a big play, even if Sauce cancels out Sutton, because I think this is the exact type of receiver Sauce likes going up against. Is a big receiver who can't threaten him. With his speed, it's going to be a ton of hand fighting. I think that's what Sauce thrives on. I think that's the receiver that Sauce matches up with the best. I think the guy like Pickens, who can threaten him with his deep speed, Sutton doesn't exist, or doesn't exist for Sutton, so I don't think he's going to be able to threaten Sauce that way. So I kind of like that matchup for Sauce, but he's got to show it to at this point. Like, it's been a couple weeks now where it's just been spotty, and that's not what I want to say.
Yep. And Joe's giving me the wave that we got to start walking, so I'll go quick and I'll give a prediction. Man, do I really want to do this? I think I just have to keep doing it for the bit at this point. It is what it is, dude. So I think this is an ugly game, like London always is. I think the playing surface, it was a little wet this morning. There was not rain predicted, but rain did happen. It's natural gas. These guys don't play on grass a lot. Like, I think that this turns into an ugly game, and we get like some weird, like, I'm going to say like 1917 Jets.
I love Paul's commitment to the bit. I think I literally Paul thinks he's, smarter. He's the bigger man for always picking them to win. It's harder to do what he does, but I will not join him today. The Jets have to prove it to me.
It is. Don't be a coward.
I think the Broncos are going to win 31-17. I think the Jets probably get a garbage time touchdown. This game isn't particularly close. Paul's going to tell me like, oh, it's easy just to predict that they lose because they're bad. Well, they got to show me. Carolina next week, maybe it's a different story. Maybe they don't show up, but this is not a good matchup. I don't trust the Jets to actually play well in London, all the requirements that come with that. So that's what I'm going to predict and, in that regard. So Paul's got to get out of here. I'll leave you guys with this. Hopefully they surprise us. Hopefully they do something different. I would love to be wrong about this game. I just don't think I will be.
Appreciate it, guys. Always appreciate you guys watching. I can't believe this many people are watching at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody in London who hosted us. I'm going in. Business trip, baby. Bye. We'll see you.
Buy a shirt. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Thank you so much for all the support. Go Jets. Alrighty.